Good pass. Good pass. Woo! How long have you owned the business? Or how long have you been doing it?
How long?
Yeah.
Πόσο καιρό, ναι.
50 χρόνια πες, από το 74.
50 years.
Wow.
50, wow.
I was 74.
What do you normally do during the day for work? Like what?
What's a typical day? What
Yeah.
time do you open?
Only here?
Uh-huh.
When I open?
Mm-hmm.
This morning or?
Just
Yes, this
whatever.
morning.
Yeah.
8, 9 o'clock, Kula?
No.
It varies. It's different, right? Do you know everyone in this town, do you think?
Why not?
Yeah,
Everybody.
right.
Everybody.
Right.
Everybody knows me.
That's why I like this town. Everyone's very friendly. I think. Do you ever have any problems with people?
Ah,
No, no.
You don't worry about it?
nobody bothers, you know.
Right.
Πόσο χρόνο είσαι? 84. 84. 84. Από πού είστε? Where are you from? Το σπίτι μου είναι πάνω από το μαγαζί αυτό.
Seriously, really dark.
Πώς σε
Yeah.
λέτε? Στενός Γιώργος. Γιώργος το μικρό όνομα, Στενός.
Γιώργος, στενός.
Στενός, όχι υπάρχει, στενός.
No, στενός means short.
Oh, steno. Okay.
Πιστή.
Okay. Με λένε Scott. Yes.
Άλλο.
Σαν κάπως σαν ορίζα.
Και εγώ επίσης.
What do you think contributes to long life?
Τι λέει οφείλεται και ζείτε πολλά χρόνια?
Καταρχήν, αγαπάμε τους ανθρώπους και μας αγαπάνε.
First of all, we love
Είναι το
people
πιο-
and they love us.
Το πιο σπουδαίο.
It's the most important thing.
Δεν υπάρχει ανταγωνισμός εδώ πέρα, επειδή το μέρος ήταν αυτό πάντα. Ζούσαμε όλοι το ίδιο. Το ίδιο με αποτέλεσμα λοιπόν δεν είχες τίποτα να μοιράσει με τον άλλο. Ζούσαμε όλοι σε μια τάξη. Δεν υπήρχε τάξη αυτό.
We live together, we don't argue with others. And because they all was a poor people, so like I said before, they give things, take things, they help each other, and they don't want someone to be bad. They're all together. There was no roads, and actually they walked a lot. We walked. Ρωτάνε λίγο πώς τι κάνουν με το στρες, με το...
Δεν υπάρχει στρες.
There's no stress, they don't know it.
They don't know it. They don't what? No
They
stress.
don't know, no stress, they don't have stress.
Εγώ 64 χρόνια έχω μελήσει. Τα έχω για χόμπι αυτά. Μέσα στα μαγαζιά ζω 72 χρόνια. Από 12 χρονών δουλεύω στα μαγαζιά και δεν με έχει ούτε κουράσει γιατί το έχω διασκέδαση. Τους πελάτες που έρχονται τους βλέπω σαν λεφτά, τους βλέπω σαν φίλους, σαν συγγενείς, σαν χωριανούς και έρχονται να στηριχτούν, να πούμε να ψωνίσουν και κάτι αν θέλουν.
From 12 years old, he has a store, and he has also bees, like a hobby, not professional. So in his store, he don't care only when you come. He don't look you only for the money. So he goes to do company and speak to each other and tell your stories like I said before. They tell stories and they pass their life like that.
Can you ask about his education and like what kind of schooling he had here in Ikaria?
Από θέμα δηλαδή σχολείου και τέτοια.
Έβαλα μόνο το δημοτικό και στάντα έτσι στη δουλειά. 15 χρόνια έκανα παππούς.
He was like the old years they didn't go, especially in the too much schools. They go like in the first 6 grades, and then he stopped because he had to work, and he fixed his shoes. It was his
Oh
first.
wow.
Πιο μικρό στον πόλεμο, όταν ήταν ο παγκόσμιος πόλεμος, δούλευα πολύ σκληρά στα κτήματα γιατί είχα 4 αδέρφια, 2, 3, 4 που ήταν πολύ πιο μικρά. Εγώ ήμουν 10 χρονών τότε, στα παιδιά ήταν
In the Second World War, he was 10 years old, and because his brothers, he had 4 brothers, were more little, so he had to work hard on the fields. So for him and 4 brothers so they can have something to eat.
τότε.
Anything that he does now that he thinks is like specifically for like at this age that keeps him younger?
Δηλαδή κάνεις λέει τώρα κάτι σε αυτή την ηλικία που σε βοηθάει.
Συνεχίζω να εργάζομαι. Συνεχίζω να εργάζομαι όπως εργαζόμουν εκείνη. Το πρωί 8.30 ώρα είμαι στη δουλειά και θα κάτσω μέχρι τις 4 με 5. Το απόγευμα δεν ανοίγω, θα πάω στο σπίτι μου λίγο, θα πάω σε κάλια. Θα πάω στο μαγαζί μου, θα πουλάω μέλι, έχω το μέλι μου, τηλεφωνάμε και σε 3 άτομα στην Αθήνα, συνεχίζω πάντως να δουλεύω όπως δούλευα και πρώτα. Δεν έχω καθόλου.
He keeps working as he works when he was 20 years old. He keeps now working the same. He has the honey. He has about 50 kilos now. He sends it in Athens. They want it over there. The honey, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he wakes 8:30 every day, go to work, and keeps on still work.
Wow. They don't retire here.
Δεν μπαίνεις λέει σύνταξη να πεις θα κάτσεις σπίτι σου και τέτοια.
Παίρνω 420, αλλά δεν...
Όχι, εννοεί να μην πας για δουλειά, θέλει να κάτσεις σπίτι.
Εγώ το πρωί 8.30 ώρα είδα στη δουλειά.
No, never, you can't stay at home. You have to go. Yes.
Και αύριο Κυριακή, εγώ το πρωί θα πάω έτσι εκεί να πιω τον καφέ μου, θα φάω το γιαούρτι μου και θα δουλέψω και στο το ίδιο δεν είναι.
Tomorrow, for example, for Sunday, he still is gonna wake up, drink his coffee, and go to find friends, go to find people, and face the day.
Contribute
Yes.
to his low stress,
Yes.
having to being on the island and seeing the scenery.
Δηλαδή αυτό που σε βοηθάει λέει, και δεν έχει στρες είναι ότι είσαι στο νησί και έχεις έτσι θέα και όλα αυτά τα πράγματα.
Και με τους ανθρώπους ζούμε διαφορετικά, είναι αυτό, δεν συστηνατορά, είναι αυτό που σε ευχαριστούν. Οι άνθρωποι όταν δουλεύουν και όχι συστηνατορές.
He says he feels good with the people
People,
also.
it goes back to the people.
They meet together and they don't try to upset one each other.
Yeah.
They just have a good time and
That's the key.
just relaxing. So
What about
Πάντα
like
χορεύουν στα πανηγύρια του πάντα.
he says at the local festivals, the Nigeria, they dance all the time. You saw that?
Χορεύουν.
They drink wine. Yeah.
Έχει τα τζίκι και εκεί.
Είσαστε όλοι beautiful. You are all beautiful.
Grandmother died when she was 117 years old.
Wow.
She was getting new hair, like black hair, and new teeth, and like small ones, not like real ones, but like small ones. Yes, new teeth, new hair, and yes. She died because a bee bit her, and she was allergic.
Oh wow. Yeah.
How do you deal with stress?
Well, she must be 1 out of 1,000 Icarian people that's truly stressed out.
No way.
Everyone is cool and calm, but my mom, have you ate? Take a jacket with you? Is everybody okay? Do we have
It sounds like my mom. Sounds like my mom.
It's because
It doesn't count when you're a mom. When you're a mom, that's what you do.
going out in the nature and like walking around, and then she comes down. That's what makes it the nature.
No clock, no watch.
Don't worry about the time.
We
don't know what time is it. No, actually, when you come here.
Honestly, I have no clue what day it is. Ever since we've been here, it's been such a different lifestyle.
You didn't work very spiritual, but do y'all still like go to church every now and then, or is it just not is it more of an at-home practice?
No, we do. We're not the kind of people who go to church every Sunday, but our church and our religion, our faith is also intermingled in our culture and our family. So yes, we do go to.
I'm from Ohio. I did undergraduate in the States. I did medical school here. I did half my residency in the States and half my residency here. I've been here since 2009, and I'm a general surgeon. I also cover all the other subspecialties that aren't here as sort of like a preliminary. So I'm like a preliminary urologist, a preliminary plastic surgeon, a preliminary neurosurgeon, this and that, until we can, get them to,
Has it being a blue zone impacted any of their lifestyles? Like, since they know it's the blue zone here, are they like, oh, we want to keep it going, so we're going to be more active, like the younger generation? It doesn't impact them at all, the fact that you're a blue zone.
Well, most people don't even, probably if they don't know the fact, they were talking about the blue zone jinx the other day. We had 3 or 4 patients that died, they had heart disease and cancers and things like that, but they were all in a relatively young age, and they were saying, oh, we got jinxed, we got the blue zone, and we lost, these 3 or 4 people, because everybody kind of knows everybody now.
Okay. Do you think there's anything that they could be doing better to take care of themselves, like Koreans, besides smoking?
Stop smoking.
So the
It
smoking.
says the major.
So the smoking is the biggest thing, yeah.
But that's like in the States.
And they do have a bad, well, I say it's bad, but I'm older, but they have a bad lifestyle. They stay up all night here.
Really?
In the summer.
They don't sleep that well?
They don't, they stay up, I'll tell you from the kids, they come at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and they sleep all day.
But they're not
in the
drinking
summer.
a lot, are they?
At night, so I'm sure they drink. Now, how much they drink, I don't know.
Okay.
But it's not like they go out to get drunk, like in the States, the kids will go out to do. No, it's not like that here.
Okay, so
they're raised with wine. There's no extra things, because there's no money coming out of this. And at the end, they get the same treatment. Do you understand? The outcome's the same. It's just all this big hoopla in the States, but at the end,
So you don't think their treatment or rehab is compromised because of?
No. I think that at the end,
it's more natural.
It's more natural, and then they go home.
Yeah.
And I show the family what to do. A lot of family interaction here. Okay. And if they want, I'll go and do private therapy or any other therapy.
So you stay pretty busy.
Yeah. No, they eat wholesome, and it's their own. Pork, their own chicken, their own goat, their own,
Right.
No, food is much better. They eat much better here. So maybe that helps. See,
So I think one of the biggest takeaways we got from Greece is not only did it touch on the 5 dimensions of wellness, but it kind of just was so mindless, as it wasn't so, oh, we're being healthy. It's just their way of life, and I think we kind of picked up on that. Like, someone else talk.
They incorporated their physical activity into everyday life. You always walk to the store or walk to work. There wasn't a lot of cars. Too much. There wasn't a lot of parking lots and stuff because everyone walks places, and you were within, walking distance of stores and towns and other essential things.
And along with physical activity, everybody seemed to swim, and it wasn't just like I need to go swim laps in a pool. Everybody like genuinely enjoyed getting the AGNC, and it was just like kind of a relaxing thing for them, but it was also really good for them.
Most of their jobs are very physical, like Stefano's being 72 or 3,
Papa.
and physically moving his fishing net every day, going out on his boat, doing all the hard work of fishing and trying to prepare before and after. Getting that workout in during the day is also something that's keeping them healthy.
Something that stood out to me about Greece is it wasn't so much about organized religion, even though they had the monastery and they had the beautiful churches. They were saying that it wasn't like custom for them to everybody be at church Sunday morning. It was kind of everybody just like went about their religious ways and their own thing.
It was more of a spirituality versus a religion. It was very like personal. That it wasn't as like a group activity. It was kind of more of a what you believed in. That was that kind of.
It was also cultural too, because they said that they would call, like the monks would get called on if someone in the community needed help or if they were going through a situation or a crisis. So it's almost like the community played a part in the church and they played a part right back to them. It's like very personal, not just everyone comes and pays their respects. It's someone needs you, the church knows it, and they're there for them.
Yeah. Also, they were talking about if someone passed away, that it was very much a celebration versus like a mourning, unless like it was a tragic event that happened, then it was definitely a mourning. But anytime someone lived, because they get so busy living life that they forget to die. So when someone finally does pass away at an older age, they really celebrate that they lived life to the fullest.
And speaking of celebrations, the Greek festival.
Yeah, the Greek festival.
That kind of ties into like the social aspect of wellness, as it was a very, very big event. So much food, so much dancing, so much fun, and like to us, I was like, oh my gosh, why don't we have these parties all the time? For them, I was like, oh, there's another next weekend. You should come by.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell everyone was so interlaced with each other and knew it was just like a very calm time that everyone could come together. You have like people all over the place at the party, and it was like a casual hang, like everyone comes together and dances at this festival.
It was so fun.
It was so much fun.
So, and everyone at the festival basically knew each other. They all were very close friends. Like we were talking to people in Ios Kyriakos about people in Harmoniestes. It was very.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Local. Very
I know
connected.
there was a lady and her kid that we had seen down at Nos Beach, and she was at the festival, and then we saw her like at another restaurant like a couple nights later. But like reoccurring faces was just kind of like a small community, and they all intertwined.
Yeah, Evie that we met at the hospital, who helped us with the interview, we saw at the beach later that day, and then she was our waitress at Mary Mary's, and it's just, there's not so many people, but I think that helps build the community and make it so much bigger, just because everybody does know each other, and in the social aspect, everybody does like respect each other and talk to each other, and there's no like cliques or anything or social status really like there's in America. It's kind of just more so about everybody helping everybody. One of the highlights for my trip personally, and I feel like a bunch of people who had the opportunity can agree, was when we were shadowing at the hospital. And it was interesting because a lot of us have had experience in a similar setting. Like, I know me and Johnny were shadowing the physical therapist, who is awesome, and we've had experience in the US. So it was like cool to see the differences between the two, and like there were a lot of things that were different, but at the end the same level of care was being achieved. And even though they didn't have the crazy technology that America did, you could still see improvement. They still went through like the basics, and what I thought was really cool is the physical therapist improvised a lot. So she wouldn't have the fancy machinery, but she would have an old rag and a levy and be like, oh, this does the same thing. Why would you spend thousands of dollars when this does the same thing? So I thought that was cool how innovative they were.
And then one thing, tying it back to the schoolwork, is that we got to use what we've learned in previous classrooms with anatomy, with our exercise science classes, to actually help these people. Like Johnny got to actually perform kind of like a massage for your scapula almost on the guy, on a client. I got to help move a 92-year-old right after hip surgery. That was really interesting. But being able to have a conversation with the doctor about the different parts of the body, about how the body's supposed to work, was really interesting. And she really respected us as students, which I thought was awesome.
Thank you. If you ever see this.
And then for intellectual, when me and Kat were shadowing at the hospital, we shadowed one of the nurses, but when we were sitting there waiting, at one point there was a man there that was there with his mother who was going to have surgery on her leg the next day. But he had asked us how the election was going in the U.S. He said, how's the election going with Hillary and the crazy man? So they get their, world information pretty well also. I mean, he knows what's going on kind of in the U.S. And we asked him where he got that information from, like where they hear world news and stuff. And he said, like, the radio, news, social media. So all of those things kind of how we get our world news a little bit, but they hear about what's going on in the world. So that's a way to keep up intellectually with the world is through the news and stuff, because they did know what was going on in the rest of the world.
For the environmental aspect of wellness, their environment is just completely different than anything we're used to in the U.S. They're so surrounded by nature, and some of like the most beautiful things that nature can create, like hot springs, which they think are very helpful, like
healing,
therapeutic.
Feel good.
You can just go in a hot spring every day. I mean, it was right below our hotel, which was pretty amazing. Just like their surroundings, their soil, they said is even different than American soil, and like the properties that it contains can completely change their wine, which is a part of an occupational aspect of wellness. So it just, the environment can affect every single thing that they do in a more positive way than what we see here. It's a small island, so basically every part of it's going to be healthier than what we're used to, just logically, because of less people, less harmful like pollutions, and I mean it's a lot healthier there.
The rights of the water is very, very different.
So much
better.
Well, they like the environment there. They work with it instead of working against it. Like how we like plow through things and
Just
stuff. I
pave
mean, they like literally have their gardens in the sides of the mountains. It's just like very different with how they connect with the environment. So,
And it does
connection.
plays off the intellectual aspect. Like she said about the soil, like knowing that since the pH is different because of the volcanic rock, that they know how to tend to their specific crops. And they like just got internet 5 years ago, but they've been doing this for so long, and it's been passed down through so many generations. I thought it was super cool actually meeting Thea, because I kind of had like an idea of what she would be like after reading the book and then hearing what she had to say. And then I met her and it was kind of different, but like in the best possible way. Like she was so nice.
You feel like you already knew her.
Yeah.
You knew about her. Like
it was really cool, like meeting the character of the book and like seeing her actual restaurant, eating there, and getting a cooking class from there, and seeing her farm. It was just like
Scott made the zucchini croquettes.
Yeah, it was
yesterday,
really
so.
cool to kind of like tie in what you've actually read and learned about, and like seeing it happen like in real time.
Thank you for
so
everything.
much.
Dania
We miss
says,
you guys.
we miss you, Grace. We'll be back.